So, Mark, we're going to talk all about our Laughlin trip, our road trip out there, everything we saw along the way. You have a favorite of everything you did. Tell everybody right off the top, what was your favorite part of Laughlin?
I mean, the most unexpected was definitely Bikini Bay. I don't know what to explain it as.
All of that coming up right now. Laughlin, the road there. Stick around. We talked on the show, you came to Vegas a few weeks ago. We went to Laughlin, finally got to see stuff, but we didn't just go to Laughlin. We did a road trip. We saw the Spiegelworld town. You finally got to see Primm and Buffalo Bills, the largest Chevron in the world. We hit the road, and I thought we would talk about it and share some of your insights, some of the things we saw along the way. And I guess we should start with my terrible driving, Mark, because I rented this beautiful car to take you around in and decided once we stopped in Jean and you got to see the world's largest Chevron that we would take Las Vegas Boulevard down to Primm. And as we're driving on Las Vegas Boulevard, the road just keeps getting worse and worse, more potholes. And then I didn't realize that the road no longer goes through. So fail on my part, but I think the rest of the day went pretty good.
Yeah, it felt very deserty when you see like the road just washed away and sand over it. But I gave my one-word review of the Chevron station. It was just kind of like a really big gas station. Definitely not worth going out of your way for. No Buc-ee's, anything like that. It's just like a lot of space and then the same stuff you'd see at your local Speedway or 7-Eleven or whatever, just more of it and kind of scattered. It was really weird. Like they had like the Red Bull area, but nothing really happening there. Then like the Jack Links thing was cool, but they also had like the Jack's Links area. I was like, okay, so there's beef jerky here. The White Castle couldn't get any service. Stood there for like 5 minutes and nobody walked up. So it was a bust.
Yeah, that Chevron is like you took everything from Buc-ee's, right? And you tried to copy it, but everything was lost in translation about what makes Buc-ee's good. So that sucks. But you got to see Terrible's across the road. That's the closed casino that is being torn out for warehouses. And a lot of the casino structure is already gone. The tower still there. And I drove back by there about a week ago and the casino is almost all gone. So that's going away slowly, but it should be gone pretty soon. But there's not much else in Jean. And then you go down to Primm. And we went to Buffalo Bills. And Buffalo Bills, I've talked about, we made the video on the channel. A lot of people love that place. I love that place. And you finally got to see what this theming was all about. Basically like an amusement park / casino combined into one.
It was pretty epic. Probably my favorite. We saw a lot of casinos that day, and I think that was my favorite one. It felt like old school Vegas, all the theming, all that stuff. I would have loved to see with the log ride going, the water splashing the coaster, all that stuff. I would have loved to see that in action. And you can really tell, like, back in the heyday, it was kind of driven towards families. Parents get away, but kids can also be there. There's an arcade, like this little alley that probably had a couple different fast food restaurants and stuff back in the day. And the pool, I mean, it was shaped like a buffalo. It was depressing out there, but that was kind of cool. And I love the center bar area with the tree in the middle and everything. That was really cool. I could hang out there. And then you had the Bonnie and Clyde car. There's a lot going for it. It's just sad that it's kind of away from everything, that it doesn't get the love that it deserves.
I mean, I'm tired of you hating on this buffalo-shaped pool. Where else in the world can you go see a giant buffalo-shaped pool?
You can't tell unless you're up above. So what's the point?
Oh, man, you and your hate. But then we went from Primm, and now we drove down through Nipton. I took you the back way to Laughlin. And the reason for that was that Spiegelworld town. We drove through there. Now, admittedly, we went to Primm, and I didn't even think that we were going to stop at the Spiegelworld town. But then I remembered as we saw it in the distance, and it really is this tiny place out in the middle of nowhere.
And the town's not like running right now. It looks like they have like a bar, a motel, maybe a shop. There was like a thrift store on the other side of the road that we didn't stop at, just a little thing. They tried to wave us down, but no, I was so excited. I was ready to like go into this Western with like doors that, that you see with what are those even called where you push them in and they come back? I don't know what they're called.
Saloon doors?
Yeah, saloon doors. There you go. That's a pretty obvious name. What an idiot. So I was like waiting to go into that and getting a beer and seeing dust bunnies roll by and stuff. I mean, it was beautiful too. We got out, stand on the train track, just the view of the mountains and open desert. Kind of out of this world. I don't know that I could live there, but I would love to stay there like one night and just kind of hang out. It'd be kind of cool.
And randomly, the one place that was open that you said was a thrift shop. And we didn't go in there, unfortunately, but it looked cool. I can't wait to see what they do with that town. We also stopped at another town on the way to Laughlin called Cal-Nev-Ari. We've talked about it on the show before. And this is a town that was built with an airfield so people can fly their planes and then kind of taxi to their houses or whatever. And they did used to have a casino there. Apparently, the whole town was sold. We talked about when it was for sale. The new owner hasn't gotten everything up and running. So we go into like where the casino was and it's all boarded up. But inside is the post office and that's working. And the town people were really friendly.
Yeah, and there was supposed to be a restaurant too, which I'm kind of surprised the restaurant wouldn't at least be open. but I guess that's kind of intertwined with the casino, so you can't really do anything with it. It's kind of like the show where they buy the town, and I was always like, how do you own a town? And so this person owns the town, but what do you do when you own a town? Like, do you collect the taxes for yourself? It's just, I don't understand how that works, but it's kind of crazy that that's why they need to get, the person that bought the town needs to get approved for a gaming license and all that stuff, and then they can open it. And the guy stopped out and explained it all to us, but we walked over to the airfield and you could see people with planes parked out of the back of their house. There was more houses and trailers and stuff there than I would have expected. Not much. The motel was all lit up across the street at night when we came back with Christmas lights. It looked kind of cute, but more there than I would have expected. And I bet you that the restaurant does good business when it's open.
Yeah, it's only like 20 minutes from Searchlight. That was the home of Harry Reid. We got to drive through there. And it's only about 20, 25 minutes from Laughlin. You go over the mountain. Now, when you go over that mountain, you come down the other side, you can see Laughlin in the distance and Bullhead City. You see the river, you see all the towers from the casinos. What was your first impression when you get that kind of panoramic view of Laughlin?
It was everything I had hoped for, Sean, all these years. Everybody told me I wasn't going to love it, and I still loved it.
So we started at Don Laughlin's Riverside. He just passed away a few months ago. We even got to see where his big apartment was on the top of the tower. And this was the first casino in Laughlin, and it was put together piecemeal over the years. And boy, can you tell it.
Yeah, I mean, this was not a good start to the trip for Laughlin. Like, you walk into this and you're like, is this what I'm going to see? Like, a lot of this? Kudos to Don Laughlin. To build a town basically out of nothing is pretty epic, and the visionary of that. And it's a tall tower, which is impressive, but the casino's just, you can tell, like, okay, they added on this section, then they added on this section, and it's all different and not really combined or cohesive, so it's a little bit off-putting and a little run down. So hopefully whoever takes it over does a little something with it. But yeah, it's just a big blob, and you can skip it.
Edgewater, I would say, is largely the same thing, and nothing too crazy there. You were in love with the Colorado Belle. That's the closed casino. It's been closed since the beginning of COVID. They say they're not reopening it. It's shaped like a riverboat, and that theme does extend to the building and all of the hotels, and you were in love with it. That place was such a dump before it closed.
I mean, you can't tell from the outside. The frontage looks great. When you walk along the river on the backside, the hotel rooms look really ratty and nasty. Like, you can definitely tell that those are bad. I feel like they could have closed that down and kept the casino going, because the frontage of it, the sign, the lights, everything is epic. It's really nice. And they keep lighting it up because it's such a draw to your eyes. So I think it does have value in that aspect. It's sad that somebody's not going to go in there and fix that up, because I think it could be something unique, something you don't see anywhere else, really.
So what I think is the nicest hotel casino in Laughlin is the Aquarius, the former Flamingo. I think it's really nice in there. They have an Outback Steakhouse, Mark. How could you go wrong with that?
No rules.
But you ordered a beer, and Vegas prices came into effect, it looked like.
Yeah, what was it? $11? $12? I don't remember. It was just a bottle of Corona Light. Like, it was, I expected $6, $7. I didn't put any money in the machine, which that's on me. I probably should have done that. But I just expected it to be, you can get a beer at the Detroit casinos for like $7, $6, $7, something like that, a bottle of beer. It was sticker shock. Like, if I was in Vegas, whatever, but I'm in Laughlin, and this is $11. This is crazy. It was blowing my mind. I expected it to be like what we talked about on South Point on the last show. $3 drinks, all these deals to get people in. It didn't make sense to me.
Then we head to the Golden Nugget. And I want to talk about the Golden Nugget because we talked about Steve Wynn on our show earlier this week, and he had a vision for this place, Mark. And when he bought it, he put this grand atrium in. So we're going to go there, and a grand atrium. So we're going to go there, and I'm like, Golden Nugget has an atrium. It's like 1/10 the size of the one at the Mirage, and that was sort of what it was meant to emulate. And then you walked in there, and you weren't impressed.
Oh, it looked like a greenhouse that you see at Home Depot. Like, I expected like glass, and when you say like, oh, it's like the Mirage, just smaller, I'm like, okay, so it'd be nice looking. No, it was just like a greenhouse with some trees, and the sign was facing the wrong way. It didn't make any sense. Like, it was okay, but nothing worth going out of your way to see. I did like the Golden Nugget. I liked the carpet. You hated how low the ceilings were, and they were epically low, which normally that would drive me nuts. But I think they had the best restaurant options. They had a lot of good brand names that you see around because they're all chains, from laundries. They had Bubba Gump out on the water. That was an epic location. I can't believe there's not more stuff built up on the water, but they had like this outdoor patio area with fireplaces overlooking the water, and it was kind of like the boardwalk went through the middle of it. So you had the inside up to the right and the outside to the left when we were walking. But I liked the Golden Nugget. It was nice. The carpet was nice. Everything looked, modern, and good food options.
The Pioneer is the nicest place. Maybe that's nicer than Aquarius. I love the property. It's almost like a motel setup. So you have the rooms are like exterior buildings, and then you have this very kind of old Western casino, which I like a lot, neat theming. And then you have River Vic, which is, I guess, the cousin of Vegas Vic. We didn't know the name of him. I not pretending I knew it before that. Oh, River Ric. See, I messed it up there. And he's there, but you have a lot of green grass. It's really beautiful. Great views of the river there. This is a neat place and one that I really like.
Wasn't expecting much because from the outside, when you go to the parking lot, it looks a little bit run down, but you still get like that frontier theming, which is cool. And you go in and it's a nicer, decent setup casino. And I like that they had like a bar. Most places had a bar overlooking the river, but this one was maybe the best of the long bars overlooking the river. And then it had an outdoor area that you could go to the side and sit and be outdoors with it overlooking the water. That's what I love in life. Like if I can have a drink looking at water, that's great. And we should note that the river is crystal clear. It looks tropical at times, depending on the light and everything. So that was really nice. And then the property grounds, it's the only resort feel, well, besides Harrah's that we'll talk about last, but it's the only resorty feel, manicured, all the bushes, everything looked nice. The grass was really green and awesome. And then River Ric is really cool. And they had a whole bunch of Christmas stuff set up out there.
Yeah, the boardwalk, as you say, kind of stretches between some properties. It doesn't go through all the way because of some closures like Colorado Belle. So you can't just walk it the entire length, but it is a beautiful area to walk around. Yeah. And they do usually have the river taxis, but they were closed during our visit. But that's one of my favorite things to do. You get out on the water, you see all these big towers, and it's not that expensive to get like a pass for the whole day. So that's the best way to get between the casinos.
Yeah, and they had some dinner cruises too, which were closed for the season, which was like 5 weeks, which we all thought was kind of funny. That they're like, oh, sorry, we closed at mid-December, we opened mid-January, something like that. It was just... I'm like, what was the point of this? But that seems like something that would be cool to do. I don't think it was much, if I remember right, like $70. I would definitely do that. And the river taxis, I'm looking forward to going back when it's warmer to take advantage of both of those.
Quirkiest casino in Laughlin has to go to the Laughlin River Lodge, and it is owned by Dottie's. And how do you describe this place? It has casinos within a casino, right? It has like a Mexican themed casino, an Asian themed casino, and then you have the Lodgy casino, has like a bowling alley kind of in the middle that you look down from above. All kinds of, arcade and all kinds of things where you can redeem and buy tokens. I don't know. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah. I mean, if I was going to like watch a game somewhere, this is the spot. They actually had a drink special. You could get a bucket of like 6 Bud Lights for $17 or something crazy like that. And they had leather couches overlooking big screen TVs that are above the bowling alley or something. It's such a hodgepodge place, but I loved it. They even had like a gift shop, not like a gas station type of store off to the side. So it was kind of cool. The downstairs, the Mexican theming and the Asian theme, it was kind of like done on the cheap, so it's a little bit weird. But I like the upstairs with the game room in that casino area. And I think they had like a Bourbon Street one. I don't know. It was just all over the place, which was so unique. Definitely the most unique casino I've been to in Nevada.
They do have like a Bourbon Street, New Orleans themed area, and that goes with some bars that they own in Las Vegas that have that same name and theme. And that's sort of how it is, right? These Dotties, they do this. And if you're closer to Vegas, you don't want to go to Laughlin, the Hoover Dam River Lodge is a very similar sister property just outside Boulder City that you can check out. So before we head to Harrah's, that was our last stop, Bikini Bay. This was the place that you chose for lunch, and quite an interesting place it was.
Yeah, it was like you walk in, there's like a ship that's like a dance stage, and there's a DJ above. So I don't know if they like do little dances that the wait staff does while they're there. They're all wearing bikinis. It was pretty much exactly what you expect. Like Hooters, but like on steroids. We were just driving by. It's in a strip mall. I'm like, we should probably check that out. We did forget the world's tiniest casino that we went to too. We should talk about that.
Yeah, the Regent, right? Where it just looks like this little building at the back, sort of wedged in between two other casinos. You don't even expect it, and then you walk in and it's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the dive casino, I guess you would say, like the dive bar casino. It's got pool tables, a couple machines, a bar. Service was good. It was fairly busy, so I think that's like the local dive hangout. Probably get cheap drinks. I did put a couple bucks in the machine just to get that beer for free. So another place to just like, if you want to go power drink, like there you go.
All right, so let's talk Harrah's. This is at the very end of the Laughlin Strip.
Yes.
And it's probably the most resorty, true proper resort there. And it has big towers, lots of rooms. And the key to this place is the beach, right? It has this beautiful sand beach out on the river. Of course, it was closed, but that didn't stop you from getting in the water.
Yeah, and we should say, I made fun of the buffalo-shaped pool. Every pool in Laughlin sucks. It's like terrible. They're all Motel 6, square pool. The lawn chair with like the rubber bands that go across and have like two tones that you've seen in every cheap motel ever. So it's like a depressing place to be. And then you go here and it's like the Cancun of Nevada. You got rock cliffs on both sides. You're in like this little bay area, and the beach, the sand is really plush and not like beat up or tight or anything. Like, it's work to take steps in there because your feet sink. So it's really nice sand. I did go down into the water, crystal clear water. It was cold, surprisingly cold. But I guess you said it's always a bit chilly, which is pretty awesome when the weather gets to 100, 110. If you can cool off and get in that water and it doesn't feel like bath water. I think this is like, I'm like, Sean, why are you not coming here in the summers for little mini staycations? I would spend a lot of time there. The casino, it looked like they had redone it. You had said they had redone it since you had last been there. It was actually pretty decent looking, new carpet, more cohesive from one room to the next. I don't remember the restaurants, if there was anything worth that. But you have so much stuff you can easily walk to. I think a weekend in Laughlin is a great time. I mean, especially if the weather's nice and you can use that beach. I'd do it.
That's why you don't go in the summer, Mark, because it's like 120 degrees and it is brutally hot. But yeah, it is popular there.
April.
Okay, there you go. It is great. And I hope that everybody sees why people should visit Laughlin. We did skip the Tropicana. We didn't have time, and I think that's the least desirable of the properties. It's the only one that's not on the water. And yeah, I think you took away, and I certainly have always loved the place. It is quirky. It's about 2 hours from Las Vegas. Certainly worth a day trip, maybe worth an overnight. If you're Caesars and you have that, you can stay at either Tropicana or at Harrah's. I would recommend Harrah's, of course. And it's a cool place, man. You don't expect to see that in the middle of the desert in southern Nevada.
It kind of gives me like the vibes of how excited I was, for old school Vegas, just like the whimsical of it. And it's not like to that level. It's just the divey version, which is fine. I love dive bars. I love kind of the quirkiness of it all and how each one has a kind of a unique feel. Like, they didn't copycat each other like what we're seeing now on the Strip. So it kind of it's a throwback. We should mention it. There's a huge city across the river that if you're driving, you're going to have a car to get there. You could go and explore that too. So if you're there for a couple nights, it's not like you only have to stay in Laughlin. There's not much going for it outside of the casinos. Like, there's a couple restaurants and stuff on the other side of the street, but you just take a quick ride over the bridge and there's a ton of stuff over there that we didn't spend any time checking out. So I can't recommend it enough. I thought it was great. I can't wait to go back.
Yeah, there's a Home Depot, a Sam's Club, a Walmart, everything Mark loves. Just Chili's. The river. It's chain hell in Bullhead City.
Yeah,
but
it is.
So let us know in the comments what you think of Laughlin. Have you been there? Everything we've shown you here, are you wanting to go? Is this a day trip you're going to do? We highly recommend it. It's quirky. It's close to Vegas. It's worth at least to drive out there for the day. Yeah, and stop at all the places along the way. There's some neat places to do and, neat people to meet.
Do yourself a favor if you don't want to go out to Laughlin. Or if you're on the way back from Laughlin, we stopped in Boulder City. Such a cool town. So unexpected. Only like 30 minutes from the Strip. I don't know why Sean doesn't go there every Friday night and eat dinner and spend a ton of time. If I was living anywhere, if I could afford it, I would live in Boulder City. So cool. I love that town.
It's funny. We were driving in Boulder City and there was this big black emptiness in front of us. And I was like, that's Lake Mead out in front of us. And I was like, just trust me. It's there. It's there somewhere. But Boulder City, 15 minutes from my house. I should be there more often. So let us know in the comments what you think about Laughlin, what you think about everywhere we stopped along the way. Have you seen these places? Do you want to see these places? Hit us up in the comments. We'll be back in a couple days with a regular show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.